not really much you can say on that.
Okay, I'm hoping she gets feeling better soon. And that's awesome that they're bonding like that. That's about all I got.
Oh, shit.
What? Oh, damn.
Yeah. Well, hi, Wolf and Raven. I mean, I would sit there and say, look, you're the first one here, but you're almost always the first one here. So, I mean, at that point, is it really an accomplishment?
Technically, I'm the first one here.
You know, that is true. Babe?
Huh.
Or we could do... You're out of malt vinegar, aren't you? No? You still have some? Are you sure?
I have a whole bottle.
Okay. Do you want to do that?
I don't know. I kind of want more comfort. I don't know.
You kind of want what?
Thinking more comforting foods, like a soup or something.
Okay. Hi, Lumi. How are you?
Honestly.
Well, that we'd have to pick up. But, hold on. Let's see what they have in the realm of Italian. Hey, Sapphire Wolf.
What color did everybody get? My mom said Haley painted everybody's nails, and I said, "Oh, well, how nice! What color did everybody get? Because that's something, right?"
Yeah. Mostly what's open right now when it comes to Italian is pizza. Let's see. We got Mexican. You want to do comfort food, so burgers are out. I don't think you're in the mood for Chinese food, are you? No. There's Denny's.
What does Denny's
Mostly American. They got their breakfast shit, which I know you aren't going to eat. They have French toast. No. Chicken tenders, chicken fried chicken, steak. Sandwiches.
Is there chicken fried steak any good?
No.
Okay.
So Panera it is?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There's also that BJ's place.
What's there?
That's the place where we got we got those burgers that were really good, but they also have like pizza and shit like that.
What's up to?
We got the mushroom Swiss burger, the broccoli cheddar soup, and the 5-meat pizza. They have chicken Alfredo. You want to try that? Huh?
Panera does?
No, that's BJ's.
We sure? We can try.
You can also sub out the pasta for either penne or spaghetti.
What kind of pasta do they use?
Right now, fettuccine.
Yeah, that's good.
Do you want to X out any parsley, Parmesan cheese, or broccoli?
No.
Okay. Okay, so we will add that to the cart. I think I will try their spaghetti meatballs.
Oh, how original.
You know what?
What? What? What?
That is just mean and rude.
3 guesses on what color the Athena and Aries got. Okay. Athena got pink, Aries got orange, Evan got green.
Oh, of course.
Oh, I did not see that one coming.
Do you want some mozzarella sticks too? Wait, hold on. Chicken pot stickers. They have pot stickers.
Let's try it.
Looks like there is 6 of them.
In what order?
Pan-seared or fried?
That is up to you.
Let's go with pan-seared.
Good choice.
And we're good on drinks, right?
Yeah. By the way, thank you very much for that choice because I wasn't really sure which one you would prefer, but I do prefer pan-seared. But I wanted to see what your choice was.
Really? You're testing me?
Yes, I'm still fucking testing your damn ass. Get over it.
Oh my god.
You will never be done being tested.
Oh my god. Okay, of all you ladies in here, do you guys test your partners at all?
They all do. In their own little ways, they do. I was being sarcastic. I'm sorry. I kind of guessed what colors Aries and Athena would have got. And then he told me his favorite color was green. I should have guessed. I'm sorry.
Do you want any dessert?
What dessert do they have?
Okay, so starting, they have a Pizookie trio. Your choice of 3 mini Pizookies served with your choice of ice cream.
What are bazookies?
Little dishes.
Little dish soap dishes or what?
No, it's like a little round individuals ice cream things.
Oh, the Minuki thingies.
Yes.
Okay.
Let's see here. Strawberry shortcake, cookies and cream, chocolate chunk, hot fudge brownie, salted caramel, peanut butter, gluten-free chocolate chip.
Ooh.
Wow, really?
What?
They all said yes.
Of course. Told you.
I think I already know which one she's going to get. Triple chocolate Pizookie made with Ghirardelli chocolate.
Fuck yes!
What type of ice cream? Chocolate, vanilla, or no ice cream?
Bailey said yes and no.
Chocolate or vanilla, dear?
For what?
The ice cream.
What do you think?
Vanilla, right?
Oh my god. Yes, dear. Yes. Vanilla. Me being the chocolate whore that I am, you decide to say vanilla. What is wrong with you?
Many, many things.
Apparently. And apparently, one of them being figured out is obviously not me.
Oh, wow. Really?
Well, if you want to say vanilla.
Sapphire says she loves vanilla.
Well, I love vanilla too in certain aspects, but right now I'm wanting to be comforted and things like that, and that does not say vanilla to me. That says chocolate.
And now text Dad. Perfect. There we go. All right. Okay, so food is ordered. The apology has been made. I don't know, Lumi, on some things, I would use broken. It depends on the context, I believe. One more. There we go. So how is everyone doing tonight? I know you do, Lumi, but like I said, it depends on the context. Now, if you're talking about an actual injury, then yes, injury. But there's some times where people use it like, Baby Dragon will use that word in the morning. She'll say her brain is broken because it's just not working right yet. And not because she has an injury or anything like that. It's just she can't fucking think straight that early in the morning. So, like I said, I think it depends on the context. No one should ever call somebody who has an injury broken because that is just a shitty fucking thing to do. No offense to anybody who liked using that word, but if you did, it was a shitty thing to do. Yes, we fed you. And you know what I heard for the next 3 days after that? The fact that the Parmesan potatoes were the star of the show. She was hoping the star of the show would have been the meatloaf, but, Wolf and Raven, that's not broken. So honestly, in that case, that actually is. Okay, Lumi, I do kind of like that one. That one is sort of an injury because it's one of those things where you have, it's not an irrational fear for you. I mean, Wolf and Raven says her meatloaf was the best non-stuffed meatloaf I've ever had.
Non-stop.
Yeah, some people stuff their meatloaf, so they'll do like a layer of meat and then they'll do stuffings inside of it and then put another layer of meat on top. Like stuff it with like cheese and bacon. Have you ever tried that? It's like a giant juicy Lucy.
Oh no, I've done that. I've done what I like doing is I like doing personal meatloafs like that and using a muffin pan and getting
Ooh.
shredded cheese, sticking that in the middle of it, wrapped in bacon,
Ho-
and then you have like personal.
Hold on. Mac and cheese stuffed meatloaf is what Wolf and Raven just put on there.
Nice.
That I want to try. Can we try that? Can we try doing that?
Yeah, sure. Get some Velveeta and I'll do bacon, macaroni and cheese.
No. So the thing is, Wolf and Raven, you're Hispanic and indigenous. Okay. So you grew up with pretty much everybody hating you. That's not an irrational fear. That's just a learned thing from trauma. So you're welcome. And by the way, can I just say, I'm Whitey and I apologize. Ooh, what sucks is the kids aren't old enough for me to make them juicy Lucy's yet. But one day, can I make you juicy Lucy's? You know what that is, right? The reason why I say the kids aren't old enough is because you have to be very careful when eating that because the cheese can actually burn your mouth.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't put tomatoes in hers, Sapphire Wolf. You don't have to put tomatoes or ketchup on a meatloaf. You don't. You can just do, you can keep it simple and basically do ground beef, breadcrumbs, and eggs to hold it together. And, my favorite one is when it's wrapped in bacon. Because, fuck yes, bacon wrapped meatloaf. Why is that, Bailey? Wolf and Raven, I want you to read that comment one more time and tell me where you find anything good in that. Just for instance. Yeah, that is a lot of trauma, which means your fear is not so irrational. Wolf and Raven, not funny. I mean, granted, I am the king of making light of horrible experiences, but it's still not something that you should have ever had to go through. The fucked up part is celebrities still do that shit. Okay, that just works perfectly. So here's the thing. I have dated both sides. So when I was growing up, I spent my time growing up either in South Texas, where I was the only white guy in my school, or in northern Oklahoma, where I was once again the only white guy in my school. So I either had a choice between Mexican families, and I say Mexican instead of Hispanic because they were Mexican. I am not being stereotypical. I'm just getting the culture right. And indigenous families. Now, if I had to pick, Which one I preferred? I would have to choose the indigenous families because I didn't understand what they were saying and I could pretend it was nice. The Mexican families, I spoke enough Spanish or down there it's more Tex-Mex to understand what they were saying. And yeah, no, they did not like me. Chingalawedo is a favorite term. Ah, yeah. But Wolf and Raven, you know how well it goes over when the precious princess in a Mexican family brings home the white boy. It is not pretty. It's the same when the indigenous princess brings home the white boy. It's still not pretty. I got threatened by a lot of family members growing up. The moms all loved me for some reason, though. I did not sleep with any of them, dear, before you start saying shit. I did the right thing and just slept with my sister's friends. So, I'm going to give it about 2 minutes before I start reading. Here's the thing, racism exists in absolutely every single culture. Now, it is most predominant in white people, I have to say, but it exists in every single culture. It really, really does. And it's one of those things that you have to really look at and realize that it's not going to be gone for a long time. My guess would be ever.
Mine as well.
Because here's the thing. Here's the difference between a racist and a non-racist. They both have that split second judgment in their head when they first meet somebody based on their looks, their appearance, the way they act, the way they talk. There's always that split second judgment in every person. However, the difference between someone who is racist and someone who is not is what they do after that split judgment. Do they take the time to get to know that person regardless of what that split second judgment was in their head? It's very true, Lumi. The problem with racists is they don't. They take that split second judgment that they had, boom, that's the truth. That's who that person is. And they keep going. Someone who's not racist takes the time to get to know that person. There are people of other races that I hate, but I don't hate them because they're other races. I hate them because they're assholes. And they have done horrible fucking things. I hate them for the actions that they have done around me. That's the difference. But I will say this unequivocally, to be a racist is to hate somebody for the color of their skin, for their nationality, who they are. I used to work with somebody who wore a hijab. And I the first day I met her, um I looked at her and instead of saying hello, I said wassalamu alaikum. And she goes, wa alaikum salam. She goes, are are you Muslim? And I said, no, but I am respectful. And she goes, well, that's refreshing. Exactly, Bailey. I choose to accept people by the content of their character, not their color, or if they have a really nice ass. That's basically the rule in this house. No offense, you could be a total bitch to me, and because of that ass, I will still love you.
Oh my god, my ass is not that good.
Oh, your ass is fucking
No, it's
amazing.
not. You're just saying that because I'm wearing yoga pants today.
No, I say that when you're wearing no pants.
Mm-hmm. You're just saying that because I'm wearing yoga pants.
No, I'm saying that when you wear no pants, yoga pants, shorts, jeans, fucking skirts, anything. You got a fucking nice ass, and then you got those back dimples too. Like, oh my god. I mean, people, look at that. Is that not a nice ass? Can you see it? Can you see it clearly? Because, I mean, she has got a fantastic ass, let me tell you.
I'm just gonna, come through here with this and just, What?
Lumi's like, well, I'm screwed. I lost most of my ass when I lost all that weight around the beginning of the year. Okay. Lumi, proof. You know where you can send a picture of your ass. We will look at it, and I guarantee you we are going to tell you that your ass is not gone.
Hey, I'm putting the table right here for dinner.
Okay.
You got that?
Wolf and Raven. BD is a gorgeous siren goddess who would and has been the muse of bards and artists.
No. What bards have I inspired? Okay, what songs have you written?
Written?
Wrote, whatever.
Roten.
Yeah.
That's just because your brains are stuck on the gods have awakened. When it should be awoken. Anyways. Ow. Most of my dirty Disney songs you inspire me with.
Boy.
Yeah. Lumi, yes, that would be an affirmative. We do want a butt pick. Wolf and Raven says, I tell stories and I turned you into a salamander fae of blue flames in my novel.
Really?
Yeah. So you actually have inspired bards and artists. And Lumi said, you just want a butt pick. And I'm like, yeah. Oh, that's fucking definite.
Wait, I'm a salamander that, really?
Salamander fae of blue flames.
That sounds pretty fucking sick.
It's okay, Chicken Nugget. Don't worry. I'm just doing story time, so you're not distracting me too much. But I'm sure that me and Baby Dragon would be more than happy to definitely give you a demonstration of what our tongues can do. What do you think, babe?
And think I even did it for that one too.
Yeah, which means you probably stirred up a few people in there. Ooh, She says she literally lives in Soren Claiborne of the Stone Giants, cracked stone skin, and lights the flames of his forge.
Ooh, nice.
Sapphire Wolf went woof. Lumi said PD definitely had my attention. Really, Wolf and Raven? Wolf and Raven says,
I saw that.
uh-huh. Okay, Wolf and Raven.
I think if she wants to continue doing that, she should lose moderator privileges.
You know, that's not a bad idea.
And she just keeps digging herself into a deeper hole, don't she?
Yeah, she does.
When's Spook going to be here?
Right now it's saying here in about 20 minutes. I am watching it. So far, as no one has gone to go get it. So. And by the way, Wolf and Raven. Because Wolf and Raven, sexy is not a state of being, it is a state of mind. What makes someone sexy is their confidence, how they handle themselves, what they think of themselves. I am sexy when I am fucking talking myself up. No, that does not mean the same thing. Because a state of being means it's something you don't have control over. It's something you either are or you aren't. Anyone can be sexy. I mean, you want to talk about a sexy big woman? I got one fucking word for you. Aretha. That woman got more dick than most porn stars. But Wolf and Raven, it's what you say in your mind. If I sat there and said I'm cute, not sexy, people would be jumping on my ass. Yes, you are sexy. She would be jumping on my ass. I'd probably have a new cut or 5 on my arm.
Although I think your mom is starting to not like me because of that fact. Did you see the look I got?
What do you mean?
When you told her where all those marks are coming from on your arms?
Uh-huh.
Did you see the look I got from your mother?
No, but I don't really give a fuck. See, here's the thing with me. My mother can like you or not. Either way, she better fucking lump it and make her mind up to it because you're not going anywhere.
No.
She can either treat you with respect or she cannot be in my life anymore.
What if she tries telling you that I don't treat you with respect?
I can tell her she can fuck off and she has absolutely no idea what the fuck she's talking about. Wolf and Raven, I'm not going to debate this with you. Sexy is a state of mind. It's how you view yourself. It's how you present and handle yourself. It's kind of like one of those things where, say you go into a game, right? And, or better yet, take it out of sports. You're going into a test saying you're going to fail. Chances are you're going to fail because you automatically have it in your mind that failure is an option. Now, trust me, I know how hard it is to get somebody when you're a bigger person. I get that. I get the looks. I get the feelings from other people. But it's what's in your own mind that will defeat you 99% of the time. No, Wolf and Raven, I know you didn't mean it in a bad way. But the thing is you are an absolutely beautiful woman. You really fucking are. But it's one of those things where you're not going to believe that until you start seeing it, until you get your head out of that mindset. You know, the one of, I'm pretty, I'm not beautiful. Because you are beautiful. In fact, I don't know of a single woman in this live who's not beautiful.
Oh, by the way, you know my water feature? I finally got him up to level 40. You want to see?
Sure. Ooh, he's fucking colorful.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, it is time for me to start reading. Actually, it's past time for me to start reading. Bailey, good. It really is not Sapphire Wolf, so thank you for not doing that. Okay, so we are going to start with Chapter 5 of Percy Jackson and the Titan's Curse. Chapter 5. I place an underwater phone call. I'd never seen Camp Half-Blood in winter before, and the snow surprised me. See, the camp has the ultimate magic climate control. Nothing gets inside the borders unless the director, Mr. D, wants it to. I thought it would be warm and sunny, but instead the snow had been allowed to fall lightly. Frost covered the chariot track and the strawberry fields. The cabins were decorated with tiny flickering lights like Christmas lights, except they seemed to be balls of real fire. More lights glowed in the woods, and weirdest of all, a fire flickered in the attic window of the big house where the oracle dwelt, imprisoned in an old mummified body. I wondered if the spirit of Delphi was roasting marshmallows up there or something. I get that, Wolf and Raven. Whoa, Nico said as he climbed off the bus. Is that a climbing wall? Yeah, I said. Why is there lava pouring down it? Little extra challenge. Come on, I'll introduce you to Chiron. Zoe, have you met? I know Chiron, Zoe said stiffly. Tell me, will we be in cabinet? Tell him we will be in cabinet. Hunters, follow me. I'll show you the way, Grover offered. We know the way. Oh, really? It's no trouble. It's easy to get lost here. If you don't, he tripped over a canoe and came up still talking. Like my old daddy goat used to say. Come on. Zoe rolled her eyes, but I guess she figured there was no getting rid of Grover. The hunters shouldered their packs and their bows and headed off toward the cabins. As Bianca D'Angelo was leaving, she leaned over and whispered something in her brother's ear. She looked at him for an answer, but Nico just scowled and turned away. Take care, sweethearts, Apollo called after the hunters. He winked at me. Watch out for those prophecies, Percy. I'll see you soon. What do you mean? Instead of answering, he hopped back in the bus. Later, Thalia, he called, and be good. He gave her a wicked smile as if he knew something she didn't. Then he closed the doors and revved the engine. I turned aside as the sun chariot took off in a blast of heat. When I looked back, the lake was steaming. A red Maserati soared over the woods, glowing brighter and climbing higher until it disappeared in a ray of sunlight. Guess you're going to find out, huh, Wolf and Raven? Nico was still looking grumpy. I wondered what his sister had told him. Who's Chiron? He asked. I don't have his figurine. Our activities director, I said. Well, you'll see. If those hunter girls don't like him, Nico grumbled, that's good enough for me. Let's go. The second thing that surprised me about camp was how empty it was. I mean, I knew most half-bloods only trained during the summer. Just the year-rounders would be here, the ones who didn't have homes to go to or would get attacked by monsters too much if they left. But there didn't even seem to be many of them either. I spotted Charles Beckendorf from the Hephaestus cabin stoking the forge outside the camp armory. The Stoll brothers, Travis and Connor from the Hermes cabin, were picking the lock on the camp store. A few kids from the Ares cabin were having a snowball fight with the wood nymphs at the edge of the forest. That was about it. Even my old rival from the Ares cabin, Clarice, didn't seem to be around. The big house was decorated with strings of red and yellow fireballs that warmed the porch but didn't seem to catch anything on fire. Inside, flames crackled in the hearth. The air smelled like hot chocolate. Mr. D, the camp director, and Chiron were playing a quiet game of cards in the parlor. Chiron's brown beard was shaggier for the winter. His curly hair had grown a little longer. He wasn't posing as a teacher this year, so I guess he could afford to be casual. He wore a fuzzy sweater with a hoof print design on it, and he had a blanket on his lap that almost hid his wheelchair completely. He smiled when he saw us. Percy, Thalia, and this must be Nico D'Angelo, I said. He and his sister are half-bloods. Chiron breathed a sigh of relief. You succeeded, then. Well, his smile melted. What's wrong? And where's Annabeth? Oh, dear, Mr. D said in a bored voice. Not another one lost. I'd been trying not to pay attention to Mr. D, but he was kind of hard to ignore in his neon orange leopard skin warm-up suit and his purple running shoes, like Mr. D had ever run a day in his immortal life. A golden laurel wreath was tilted sideways on his curly black hair, which must have meant he'd won the last hand of cards. What do you mean? Thalia asked. Who else is lost? Just then Grover trotted into the room, grinning like crazy. He had a black eye and red lines on his face that looked like a slap mark. The hunters are all moved in. Chiron frowned. The hunters, eh? I say we have much to talk about. He glanced at Nico. Grover, perhaps you should take our young friend to the den and show him our orientation film. But, oh, right. Yes, sir. Orientation film? Nico asked. Is it G or PG? Because Bianca is kind of strict. It's PG-13, Grover said. Cool! Nico happily followed him out of the room. Babe, are you still looking at the comments? Sapphire Wolf, you evil, 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 cruel fucking woman. How you feeling, babe?
Like I just lost the game.
Right. She unsent the message. Oh.
Okay, what about it? What's that mean? What does that
Oh.
have to do with anything?
She unsent the message,
Okay.
which
so
means we can't point and show what she did.
she sent a message saying we lost the game.
Well, technically, she said the game. That's what. I just wanted to see if I could. Really?
Well, congratulations. You figured it out. Good job.
Lumi, zip it. Now, Chiron said to Thalia and me, perhaps you two should sit down and tell us the whole story. When we were done, Chiron turned to Mr. D. We should launch a search for Annabeth immediately. I'll go, Thalia and I said at the same time. Mr. D sniffed. Certainly not. Thalia and I both started complaining, but Mr. D held up his hand. He had that purplish, angry fire in his eyes that usually meant something bad and godly was going to happen if we didn't shut up. Get here. From what you have told me, Mr. D said, we have broken even on this escapade. We have broken even on this escapade. We have regrettably lost Annabeth, I snapped. She'd gone to camp since she was 7, and still Mr. D pretended not to know her name. Yes, yes, he said, and you procured a small, annoying boy to replace her. So I see no point risking further half-bloods on a ridiculous rescue. The possibility is very great that this Annie girl is dead. I wanted to strangle Mr. D. It wasn't fair. Zeus had sent him here to dry out as camp director for 100 years. It was meant to be a punishment for Mr. D's bad behavior on Olympus, but it ended up being a punishment for all of us. Annabeth may be alive, Chiron said, but I could tell he was having trouble sounding upbeat. He'd practically raised Annabeth all those years. She was a year-round camper before she'd given living with her dad and stepmom a second try. She's very bright, if our enemies have her. She will try to play for time. She may even pretend to cooperate. That's right, Thalia said. Luke would want her alive. In which case, said Mr. D, I'm afraid she will have to be smart enough to escape on her own. I got up from the table. Percy? Chiron's tone was full of warning. In the back of my mind, I knew Mr. D was not somebody to mess with. Even if you were an impulsive ADHD kid like me, he wouldn't give you any slack, but I was so angry I didn't care. You're glad to lose another camper, I said. You'd like it if we all disappeared. Mr. D stifled a yawn. You have a point? Yeah, I growled. Just because you were sent here as a punishment doesn't mean you have to be a lazy jerk. This is your civilization, too. Maybe you could try helping out a little. For a second, there was no sound except the crackle of the fire. The light reflected in Mr. D's eyes, giving him a sinister look. He opened his mouth to say something, probably a curse that would blast me to smithereens, when Nico burst into the room, followed by Grover. So cool, Nico yelled, holding his hands out to Chiron. You're a centaur. Chiron managed a nervous smile. Yes, Mr. D'Angelo, if you please. Though I prefer to stay in human form in this wheelchair for first encounters. And whoa, he looked at Mr. D. You're the wine dude. No way. Mr. D turned his eyes away from me and gave Nico a look of loathing. The wine dude? Dionysus, right? Oh, wow, I've got your figurine. My figurine? In my game, Mythomagic, and a holofoil card, too. And even though you've only got like 500 attack points and everybody thinks you're the lamest god card, I totally think your powers are sweet. Ah, Mr. D seemed truly perplexed, which probably saved my life. Well, that's gratifying. Percy, Chiron said quickly, you and Thalia go down to the cabins. Inform the campers we'll be playing Capture the Flag tomorrow evening. Capture the flag? I asked. But we don't have enough. It is a tradition, Chiron said. A friendly match whenever the hunters visit. Yeah, Thalia muttered. I bet it's real friendly. Centaurs are not insects, Wolf and Raven. Oh. Chiron jerked his head toward Mr. D, who was still frowning as Nico talked about how many defense points all the gods had in his game. Run along now, Chiron told us. Oh, right, Thalia said. Come on, Percy. She hauled me out of the big house before Dionysus could remember that he wanted to kill me. You've already got Ares on your bad side, Thalia reminded me as we trudged toward the cabins. You don't need another immortal enemy. Exactly. They do not have 6 legs. They have 4 legs and 2 arms. They have 6 appendages. Well, they also have another appendage. They got a real horse cock. She was right. My first summer as a camper, I'd gotten in a fight with Ares, and now he and all his children wanted to kill me. I didn't need to make Dionysus mad, too. Sorry, I said. I couldn't help it. It's just so unfair. She stopped by the armory and looked out across the valley toward the top of Half-Blood Hill. Her pine tree was still there, the golden fleece glittering in its lowest branch. The tree's magic still protected the borders of camp, but it no longer used Thalia's spirit for power. Percy, everything is unfair, Thalia muttered. Sometimes I wish. She didn't finish, but her tone was so sad I felt sorry for her. With her ragged black hair and her black punk clothes, an old wool overcoat wrapped around her, she looked like some kind of huge raven, completely out of place in the white landscape. We'll get Annabeth back, I promised. I just don't know how yet. First, I found out that Luke is lost, she said. Now, Annabeth, don't think like that. You're right, she straightened up. We'll find a way. How is he 8-legged? How? Oh my god. Nope. Wolf and Raven, I am now ignoring you. Over at the basketball court, a few of the hunters were shooting hoops. One of them was arguing with a guy from the Ares cabin. The Ares kid had his hand on his sword, and the hunter girl looked like she was going to exchange her basketball for a bow and arrow at any second. I'll break that up, Thalia said. You circulate around the cabins. Tell everybody about capture the flag tomorrow. All right. You should be team captain. No, she said. You've been at camp longer. You do it. We can co-captain or something. She looked about as comfortable with that as I felt, but she nodded. As she headed for the court, I said, Hey, Thalia. Yeah? I'm sorry about what happened at Westover. I should have waited for you guys. It's okay, Percy. I probably would have done the same thing. She shifted from foot to foot, like she was trying to decide whether or not to say more. Huh? Supposed to be arriving in 10 minutes, but they haven't left yet, so. She shifted from foot to foot, like she was trying to decide whether or not to say more. You know, you asked about my mom, and I kind of snapped at you. It's just, I went back to find her after 7 years, and I found out she died in Los Angeles. She was a heavy drinker, and apparently she was out driving late one night about 2 years ago, and Dahlia blinked hard. I'm sorry. Yeah, well, it's not like we were ever close. I ran away when I was 10, but 2 years of my life were when I was running around with Luke and Annabeth, but still, that's why you had trouble with the Sun Van. She gave me a wary look. What do you mean? The way you stiffened up. You must have been thinking about your mom, not wanting to get behind the wheel. I was sorry I'd said anything. Dahlia's expression was dangerously close to Zeus's, the one time I'd seen him get angry. Like any minute, her eyes would shoot 1,000,000 volts. Yeah, she muttered. Yeah, that must have been it. She trudged off toward the court, where the Ares camper and the hunter were trying to kill each other with a sword and a basketball. The cabins were the weirdest collection of buildings you've ever seen. Zeus and Hera's big white columned buildings, cabins 1 and 2, stood in the middle with 5 gods' cabins on the left and 5 goddesses' cabins on the right. So they all made a U around the central green and the barbecue hearth. I made the rounds telling everybody about capture the flag. I woke up some Aries kid from his midday nap and he yelled at me to go away. When I asked him where Clarice was, he said, went on a quest for Chiron, top secret. Is she okay? Haven't heard from her in a month. She's missing in action, like your butt's going to be if you don't get out of here. I decided to let him go back to sleep. It is on the way. Finally, I got to cabin 3, the cabin of Poseidon. It was a low gray building hewn from sea stone with shells and coral fossils imprinted in the rock. Inside, it was just as empty as always, except for my bunk. A minotaur horn hung on the wall next to my pillow. I took Annabeth's baseball cap out of my backpack and set it on my nightstand. I'd give it to her when I found her, and I would find her. I took off my wristwatch and activated the shield. It creaked noisily as it spiraled out. Dr. Thorne's spikes had dented the brass in a dozen places. One gash kept the shield from opening all the way, so it looked like a pizza with 2 slices missing. The beautiful metal pictures that my brother had crafted were all banged up. In the picture of me and Annabeth fighting the Hydra, it looked like a meteor had made a crater in my head. I hung the shield on its hook next to the Minotaur horn, but it was painful to look at now. Maybe Beckendorf from the Hephaestus cabin could fix it for me. He was the best armor smith in the camp. I'd ask him at dinner. I was staring at the shield when I noticed a strange sound, water gurgling, and I realized there was something new in the room. At the back of the cabin was a big basin of gray sea rock, with a spout like the head of a fish carved in stone. Out of its mouth burst a stream of water, a saltwater spring that trickled into the pool. The water must have been hot because it sent mist into the cold winter air like a sauna. It made the room feel warm and summery, fresh with the smell of the sea. I stepped up to the pool. There was no note attached or anything, but I knew it could only be a gift from Poseidon. I looked into the water and said, "Thanks, Dad." The surface rippled. At the bottom of the pool, coins shimmered, a dozen or so golden drachmas. I realized what the fountain was for. It was a reminder to keep in touch with my family. I opened the nearest window, and the wintry sunlight made a rainbow in the mist. Then I fished a coin out of the hot water. "Iris, O goddess of the rainbow," I said, "accept my offering." I tossed a coin into the mist and it disappeared. Then I realized I didn't know who to contact first. My mom? That would have been the good son thing to do. But she wouldn't be worried about me yet. She was used to me disappearing for days or weeks at a time. My father? It had been way too long, almost 2 years since I'd actually talked to him. But could you even send an iris message to a god? I'd never tried. Would it make them mad? Like a sales call or something? I hesitated. Then I made up my mind. "Show me Tyson," I requested, "at the forges of the Cyclopes." The mist shimmered, and the image of my half brother appeared. He was surrounded in fire, which would have been a problem if he weren't a cyclops. He was bent over an anvil, hammering a red hot sword blade. Sparks flew and flames swirled around his body. There was a marble framed window behind him, and it looked out onto dark blue water, the bottom of the ocean. "Tyson!" I yelled. He didn't hear me at first because of the hammering and the roar of the flames. "Tyson!" He turned, and his one enormous eye widened. His face broke into a crooked yellow grin. "Percy!" He dropped the sword blade and ran at me, trying to give me a hug. The vision blurred, and I instinctively lurched back. "Tyson, it's an iris message. I'm not really here." "Oh," he came back into view, looking embarrassed. "Oh, I knew that. Yes." "How are you?" I asked. "How's the job?" His eye lit up. "Love the job. Look!" He picked up the hot sword blade with his bare hands. "I made this." "That's really cool." "I wrote my name on it right here." "Awesome. Listen, do you talk to Dad much?" Tyson's smile faded. "Not much. Daddy is busy. He is worried about the war." "What do you mean?" Tyson sighed. He stuck the sword blade out the window where it made a cloud of boiling bubbles. When Tyson brought it back in, the metal was cool. "Old sea spirits making trouble. Igaios, Oceanus, those guys." I sort of knew what he was talking about. He meant the immortals who ruled the oceans back in the days of the Titans, before the Olympians took over. The fact that they were back now, with the Titan Lord Kronos and his allies gaining strength, was not good. "Is there anything I can do?" I asked. Tyson shook his head sadly. "We are arming the mermaids. They need 1,000 more swords by tomorrow." He looked at his sword blade and sighed. "Old spirits are protecting the bad boat." "The Princess Andromeda," I said. "Luke's boat?" "Yes, they make it hard to find. Protect it from Daddy's storms. Otherwise, he would smash it." "Smashing it would be good." Tyson perked up as if he just had another thought. Annabeth, is she there? Oh, well, my heart felt like a bowling ball. Tyson thought Annabeth was just about the coolest thing since peanut butter, and he seriously loved peanut butter. I didn't have the heart to tell him she was missing. He'd start crying so bad he'd probably put out his fires. Well, no, she's not here right now. Tell her hello, he beamed. Hello to Annabeth. Okay, I fought back a lump in my throat. I'll do that. And Percy, don't worry about the bad boat. It is going away. What do you mean? Panama Canal. Very far away. I frowned. Why would Luke take his demon infested cruise ship all the way down there? The last time we'd seen him, he'd been cruising along the East Coast, recruiting half bloods and training his monstrous army. All right, I said, not feeling reassured. That's good, I guess. In the forges, a deep voice bellowed something I couldn't make out. Tyson flinched. Gotta get back to work. Boss will get mad. Good luck, brother. Okay, tell Dad. But before I could finish, the vision shimmered and faded. I was alone again in my cabin, feeling even lonelier than before. I was pretty miserable at dinner that night. I mean, the food was excellent as usual. You can't go wrong with barbecue, pizza, and never empty soda goblets. The torches and braziers kept the outdoor pavilion warm, but we all had to sit with our cabin mates, which meant I was alone at the Poseidon table. Dahlia sat alone at Zeus's table, but we couldn't sit together. Camp rules. At least the Hephaestus, Ares, and Hermes cabins had a few people each. Nico sat with the Stoll brothers, since new campers always got stuck in the Hermes cabin if their Olympian parent was unknown. The Stoll brothers seemed to be trying to convince Nico that poker was a much better game than mythomagic. I hoped Nico didn't have any money to lose. The only table that really seemed to be having a good time was the Artemis table. The hunters drank and ate and laughed like one big happy family. Zoe sat at the head like she was the mama. She didn't laugh as much as the others, but she did smile from time to time. Her silver lieutenant's band glittered in the dark braids of her hair. I thought she looked a lot nicer when she smiled. Bianca D'Angelo seemed to be having a great time. She was trying to learn how to arm wrestle from the big girl who'd picked a fight with the Aries kid on the basketball court. The bigger girl was beating her every time, but Bianca didn't seem to mind. When we'd finished eating, Chiron made the customary toast to the gods and formally welcomed the hunters of Artemis. The clapping was pretty half-hearted. Then he announced the goodwill capture the flag game for tomorrow night, which got a lot better reception. Afterward, we all trailed back to our cabins for an early winter lights out. I was exhausted, which meant I fell asleep easily. That was the good part. The bad part was I had a nightmare, and even by my standards, it was a whopper. Annabeth was on a dark hillside shrouded in fog. It almost seemed like the underworld because I immediately felt claustrophobic, and I couldn't see the sky above, just a close, heavy darkness as if I were in a cave. Annabeth struggled up the hill. Old broken Greek columns of black marble were scattered around as though something had blasted a huge building to ruins. Thorn! Annabeth cried. Where are you? Why did you bring me here? She scrambled over a section of broken wall and came to the crest of the hill. She gasped. There was Luke, and he was in pain. He was crumpled on the rocky ground, trying to rise. The blackness seemed to be thicker around him, fog swirling hungrily. His clothes were in tatters, and his face was scratched and drenched with sweat. Annabeth, he called, help me, please. She ran forward. I tried to cry out, he's a traitor, don't trust him. But my voice didn't work in the dream. Annabeth had tears in her eyes. She reached down like she wanted to touch Luke's face, but at the last second she hesitated. What happened? She asked. They left me here, Luke groaned. Please, it's killing me. I couldn't see what was wrong with him. He seemed to be struggling against some invisible curse, as though the fog were squeezing him to death. Why should I trust you? Annabeth asked. Her voice was filled with hurt. You shouldn't, Luke said. I've been terrible to you. But if you don't help me, I'll die. Let him die, I wanted to scream. Luke had tried to kill us in cold blood too many times. He didn't deserve anything from Annabeth. Then the darkness above Luke began to crumble, like a cavern roof in an earthquake. Huge chunks of black rock began falling. Annabeth rushed in just as a crack appeared, and the whole ceiling dropped. She held it somehow, tons of rock. She kept it from collapsing on her, And Luke just with her own strength. It was impossible. She shouldn't have been able to do that. Luke rolled free, gasping. Thanks, he managed. Help me hold it, Annabeth groaned. Luke caught his breath. His face was covered in grime and sweat. He rose unsteadily. I knew I could count on you. He began to walk away as the trembling blackness threatened to crush Annabeth. Help me, she pleaded. Oh, don't worry, Luke said. Your help is on the way. It's all part of the plan. In the meantime, try not to die. Did you just hear it? Yes, she did. The ceiling of darkness began to crumble again, pushing Annabeth against the ground. I sat bolt upright in bed, clawing at the sheets. There was no sound in my cabin except the gurgle of the saltwater spring. The clock on my nightstand read just after midnight. Only a dream, but I was sure of two things. Annabeth was in terrible danger, and Luke was responsible. And that is the end of chapter 5.
What?
How did you hear it? I didn't even hear it.
I don't know. I heard the guy walking up here. I heard his feet, like the clop, clop, clop. I was like, yes.
You know what the only thing that popped in my head was?
Huh.
You could smell it.
I could hear it. The ice cream's fucking melted a high though. Because I put it
With the food? Well, I mean, that happens.
stickers.
Lumi's right. That is the best way. And no, I am not mad at you. You guys were just being annoying, so I decided to ignore you. No offense, Lumi was right. If you decide to be a troll while I'm reading, I'm going to ignore you. And mixing Sleipnir into Greek mythology is not right. Let me have one. Ooh, that's good. It's soy sauce.
I'm sorry. I always smell it before I try it.
Sleipnir is not an arachnid. Babe, would you like to tell them why the 8-legged horse Sleipnir is not an arachnid and cannot be classified as one?
Because it's a fucking horse.
Ooh.
Technically, it's a half god, half horse. But, still. It's a demigod. It's a demi-horse, damn it.
Mm-hmm. BD would make a good vampire.
I already classify as a heat vampire. Does that count?
No, but Sapphire Wolf, Lumi's right. Just play the Y game. How is it?
I like the other places get better.
Mm.
And I like theirs better. I just like theirs better. Then again, what do you expect when they're from the Chinese place? I mean, I like theirs better. But they're pretty good.
That's why it's only one question. Why?
Do you want any more of them?
Not right now.
That's what I was thinking. There's 3 left.
Okay.
Oh, that hurts.
What? I know, but just try.
Hey. Pretty sure that would probably go pretty well with yours. The garlic milk.
But not with yours?
I'm sure it'd go well with mine. If I just don't want it.
Okay. Yeah, Lumi's as good with words as I am.
Oh, fuck.
You okay, baby? Are you bleeding?
Because I bit my tongue on the 3rd and 4th one.
Can I just say, sometimes your tongue biting is impressive.
Why?
You never fucking miss.
Uh-oh. And it's always in a new spot, too. It really fucking is. It's like lightning. I can't bite in the same spot twice.
Sapphire Wolf, what you need to do is whenever you ask that question, don't try and think about the answer. The first thing that pops into your head is 99% of the time the actual answer. That would be the triple chocolate cookie.
Yeah. And the ice cream goes on top of it. But I was trying to figure out why it was so warm. I'm thinking they bake it before they get bring it.
Mm-hmm. They may bake it fresh. I mean, that works, Sapphire Wolf. I don't know, Bailey. That one looked like it hurt.
don't bother.
No, you're going to use it. Yes, you are.
No, I'm not.
Yes, because every time you use it, it actually helps.
Helps with what?
You're sneezing.
I think I'm done sneezing for now. We're good.
Fine. If you sneeze one more time, you're taking that.
Fine. Deal.
Wolf and Raven says your sneezes are cute.
How are my sneezes cute?
I do not know.
Do you think they're cute?
I mean,
I think they're annoying.
I've never thought about sneezes being cute or not. So,
Neither have I, but I think they're annoying.
well, first off, they're your sneezes. Secondly, you bite your tongue every time you sneeze. So,
It's painful.
Bailey, I doubt that. Uh-huh. Anyways, so let's see here. Okay, Lumi. It probably is the tired. You haven't been getting much sleep lately. Okay, so here we go. Chapter 33. You must cut off my arm. Zed drew the sleeve of the sky blue satin robe down her arm, covering the wound that wouldn't heal and the faint green glow of her flesh. I'm not cutting off your arm, Addie. How many times do I have to tell you? He set the cut glass lamp back on a side table inlaid with silver worked and floral patterns next to the tray of brown bread and half-eaten lamb stew, and strolled across the carpets to draw the heavy embroidered curtains back a bit with a thin finger. He peered without seeing out the frost-laced window at the dark street. The glow from the fire in the outer room cast a warm, dim light through the open double doors. The rooms were fairly quiet, considering the size of the crowd down in the dining room. The ram's horn did a bustling business, despite it being the dead of winter, or perhaps because of it. The open road was no place to sleep in this cold and snow, and trade couldn't stop simply because of the season. Merchants, drivers, and travelers of every sort filled this inn, as well as all the others in Penvero. Yes, but Wolf and Raven is asking good questions, Lumi. He and Addie had been lucky to find lodging, or perhaps the innkeeper had been the lucky one, lucky that someone would come along who was willing to pay the outrageous price he asked for his finest rooms. But the price of the rooms did not concern Zed. Producing the required price in gold was no problem for a wizard of the first order. He had real problems, though. The gash where the scrin had cut Addie with its claw wasn't healing. In fact, it was getting worse, and would do no good trying to use more magic to cure the wound. Magic was the trouble. Listen to me, old man. Addie levered herself up in the bed with onto one elbow. It be the only way to stop it. You have tried, and I do not fault your efforts, but if we do not stop it, I will die. What be one arm compared to my life? If you do not have the courage, then give me a knife. I can do the work myself. Goddamn stubborn woman. I am so lucky that I don't have to put up with a woman that stubborn. Baby Dragon is just so easy going.
With you sniffling, I would have to say you would need it.
Yeah, I would, but I don't want those noises on the live.
Why don't you use that exercising right of muting and do it?
Ooh, Lumi. I love melatonin. Here's the thing. Hold on. You know what I used to take for sleeping, Lumi? I know, Lumi. No, you know what I used to have to take for sleeping, Lumi? I would take 10 milligrams of Klonopin and then 40 milligrams of Trazodone. Yeah, Lumi. Ambien doesn't touch me. What I take now is 2 extra strength Benadryl and 2 I think 300 milligrams of uh gabapentin. For your office? I 100% support this.
And it's a diamond heart.
Oh, really? Luckily, Baby Dragon has only been woken up by my nightmares one time.
Says you.
No, other times I've checked on you. You were still asleep.
Says you.
Unless I didn't wake up.
There's been a couple of times where you haven't woken up, but I've noticed.
I'd take hallucinations over my nightmares any day. Anyways, and by the way, Lumi, when I was talking about somebody who was stubborn, I was referring to Baby Dragon.
Me?
Yes.
Stubborn? No.
Uh-huh. And by the way, Wolf and Raven, from the time when I was ignoring you, I would like to make a correction on one of the things you have said.
Well, that's just great. You just went dead silent.
I'm waiting for her to respond. You said Baby Dragon was the brat queen. Now, would you like to hear from Baby Dragon's own lips? Okay, fine, Sapphire Wolf, then I will correct you. Would you like to hear from Baby Dragon's own lips who the brat queen is?
Hey, well.
Mm-hmm. God, sinuses suck. Oh, BD can't out troll everybody. She gets fed up with it after a while.
What?
Wolf and Raven said that you could out troll everybody.
Oh, no. Y'all would fucking win. I would walk away from it and say, fuck y'all. Mm-hmm. Yep.
You can't hear BD? Well, BD said, and I quote, Halo is the brat queen. No, Wolf and Raven, BD has put Halo above her, and that is where she shall stay, because that is BD's choice.
Honestly, Halo, the shit that Halo fucking does sometimes, like I would not have the. You know when she glitter bombed her Alpha's beard, she also did it to the vehicle, right?
Which comment, Bailey? Huh?
She also did it to the vehicle.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait, please tell me she didn't put it in the air vents. Oh, shit.
Yeah, see, Halo does do. Halo has earned that title.
Oh, yeah. Halo does shit that even BD wouldn't dare do.
Yeah, no, Halo has earned that title.
Let's see here. Let's see. He scowled over his shoulder. Of that, dear lady, I have no doubt, but it would do no good, I'm afraid. What do you mean? She asked in a low rasp. He plucked a cold chunk of lamb from the gold-rimmed bowl and popped it in his mouth before he hiked his lavish robes up a bit and sat on the edge of the bed. He took up her good hand as he chewed. It seemed thin and frail, but he knew her to be more the stuff of iron. Addie, do you know anyone with knowledge of this sort of taint? She ignored his question. Why do you say it will do no good? Zed patted her hand. Answer the question. Do you know anyone who would know anything about this? I would have to think on it some, but I do not think there be anyone still alive who would have such knowledge. You be a wizard. Who would know better than you? Wizards be healers. She took back her hand. And what do you mean cutting off the arm would do no good? She was silent a moment, then her eyes widened. You mean it be too late? Zed stood and turned away from her. He put a hand on his bony hip as he considered the options. There was not much to consider. Think on it, Taddy, and do so with haste. This is beyond my knowledge, and it is serious. He heard the bed squeak as Addie sank back down onto the pillows. She released a tired sigh. Then I be dead. At least my spirit will be with my Pell at last. You must go on now. Do not waste any more time. I have already slowed you too much. Been in this bed too many days. You must get to Aidendrill. Please, Zed. Don't let me be responsible for what will happen if you don't get to Aidendrill. Go help Richard, and leave me to my end. Addie, please do as I ask and think. Who would be able to help us? Too late, he realized he had just made a mistake. He winced and waited for what he knew was coming. He heard the bed springs squeak again. Us. I simply mean. She snatched the sleeve of his fine robes and spun him around. Her brow was set in a serious scowl. She gave a firm tug, forcing him to sit on the bed next to her. Her eyes seemed more pink than white in the lamplight, yet he could see the dim haze of green in them. Us, she repeated. This time it came out in a growling rasp. And you complain about the small secrets a sorceress would choose to keep to herself? Out with it, or I will make you sorry you dragged me along with you. Zed gave a tired sigh. It was just as well. He couldn't keep it from her much longer anyway. He drew the dark sleeve of his robe up his arm, the flesh of his upper arm, in the same place where her arm had been cut, was blotched with cloudy black circles about the size of gold coins, and had the same faint green glow as her arm. She stared at it without reaction. Wizard. Wizards use the magic of empathy to cure people. We take the pain and the essence of the discordance, the sickness or injury, into ourselves. We have passed the test of pain, so in this, as in other things, we are able to endure what we take from another. We use the gift to sustain us and to give strength to the person, allowing the magic to cure what is out of order. The harmony within us corrects the disharmony. Sickness and injury is an aberration, and the magic restores the flows of proper in a person to what it is intended to be. He stroked her hand. Within limits, of course. We are not the hand of creation, but from it, we have the gift to use when it is appropriate. But why be your arm like mine? The actual transfer of the sickness or injury is blocked. Only the pain and disharmony of it is taken on. So we may pass strength and healing and wellness to the one we are helping. He took hold of the silver brocade at the cuff and drew the sleeve back down his arm. Somehow, the taint of the scrin passed through that barrier. Concern creased her features. Then we must both lose our arms. Zed worked his tongue to wet it. No, I'm afraid that wouldn't help. When I try to cure somebody, I can sense where the injury or sickness, the disharmony lies. He stood again, turning his back to her. Though the wound is on your arm, the taint of the scrin magic is evident throughout your body. His voice dropped to a whisper. It is also throughout me now. Zed could hear the muffled laughter from down in the dining room. Merry music seemed to ooze up through the elegant, richly colored carpets. A bard was singing a bawdy tale about a princess masquerading as a serving wench. Her father and king had pledged her to a prince she loathed. After having exposed the suitor as a scoundrel and greedy opportunist, she found that despite having to endure her bottom being pinched, she preferred the occupation of serving wench to that of princess, and went on to live a life of singing and dancing. The crowd roared their approval, thumping their mugs in time with the tune. Addie's voice came softly from behind him. We be in a great deal of trouble, old man. He nodded absently. Indeed. I be sorry, Zed. Forgive me for what I have brought upon us. He dismissed her regrets with a wave of his hand. What's done is done. It's not your fault, dear lady. If anything, it's mine, for not thinking before I used magic on this. The price of using your heart before using your head. The price, too, for violating the wizard's second rule, he thought, but did not voice it. The heavy folds of his robe swirled around him as he turned back to face her. Addie, think. There must be someone who would know about this taint, someone who knows about the scrin. Is there anyone you visited when searching knowledge of the underworld who would know something, even if it's just a little? It might give me the clue I need to rid us of this. Her weight settled deeper into the pillows as she frowned and thought. Finally, her head rolled from side to side. When I visited the women with the gift, I be young, they be old, at least older than I. They would all be dead by now. Zed stepped closer. Did any have daughters? Daughters with the gift? Addie's eyes came to his, her eyebrows lifted, and a smile grew on her finely wrinkled face. Yes, one who taught me some of the most important things about the scrin had daughters. She propped herself up on her good elbow. Three daughters. Her grin grew. They all had the gift. They be little at the time, but they had the gift. They would not be nearly as old as I. If their mother lived long enough, she would have taught them what she knew. That be the way of a sorceress. Despite the dull ache of a foreign magic in his bones, Zed's step was lively with excitement. Then we must go to them. Where are they? Addie winced as she sank back down on the pillows. She drew the blanket up to her chest. Nico Baris. They be in a remote part of Nico Baris. Bags! Zed let out a sigh. That's a long way in the wrong direction. He stroked the thumb and forefinger down opposite sides of his smooth jaw. Can you think of anyone else? Addie whispered to herself one at a time. She lifted open the fingers of a closed hand. Sons, she muttered. She only had sons. She lifted open another finger. No, she didn't know anything of the scrin. Finally, she opened up the last finger. No children. Her hands fell limp to her sides. I be sorry, Zed. The three sisters be the only ones who might know something, and they be in Nicobaris. And this woman, their mother, where did she learn these things? Maybe we could go there. Addie smoothed the blanket against her stomach. Her hand slipped away to rest at her side. The light only knows. The only place I know we can go to seek answers be Nicobaris. Zed pointed a bony finger skyward. Then we go to Nicobaris. Addie looked at him dubiously. Zed, there be blood of the fold in Nicobaris. My name be remembered there, and not remembered fondly.
That was an awfully long time ago, Addie. 2 kings ago. Time means nothing to the blood. He rubbed his chin as he thought. Well, no one knows who we are. We've been hiding our identity to remain out of the keeper's sight. We will simply continue to be 2 wealthy travelers. He scowled at her. I'm already wearing this ridiculous outfit. The lavish robes they both wore had been her idea, and not one he enjoyed. Addie shrugged. It would appear we have no choice. What must be done must be done. She grunted with the effort of sitting up in bed. We must be on our way. Zed waved his hand dismissively. You are weak and need rest. I will secure us transportation. It's too difficult to ride horseback anymore. I'll hire us a coach or something. He lifted an eyebrow as he gave her a sly smile. After all, if we're going to wear these garish outfits and feign being wealthy travelers, it would be best to play the part with a coach. She watched as he scrutinized himself in front of the tall, standing mirror. He held the full robes out, examining their volume. The robe was a heavy maroon fabric with black sleeves and cowled shoulders. The cuffs of the sleeves had 3 rows of silver brocade. Around the neck and down the front were bands of gold brocade. Around the woven in a coarser design. The waist was held with a flashy red satin belt set with a gold belt buckle. The whole effect was so ostentatious it made him groan inwardly. Well, necessary was necessary. Zed swept his arm across his middle while bowing dramatically. How do I look, dear lady? Addie plucked a slice of brown bread from the tray. Foolish. He straightened in a rush and finally shook a finger at her. May I remind you that you picked it out? She shrugged. Revenge. You picked mine. I thought it only fitting to seek redress. He strode across the expanse of carpets in a huff, muttering that he thought she had gotten the better of the bargain by far. You get a little rest. I'll see about our transportation. Addie tore a chunk of bread off with her teeth and spoke around the mouthful as he headed for the door. Don't forget your hat. Zed froze with a wince. He spun on the balls of his feet. Bags, woman, must I wear the hat too? She chewed a moment and then swallowed. The man who sold us the outfit said it be all the rage among noblemen. Zed forced out a noisy breath and then snatched the limp red hat off the marble tabletop beside the double doors to the outer room. He plopped it atop his wavy white hair. Better? The feather be crooked. He clenched his fist. At last he reached up and rearranged the floppy hat, straightening the long peacock feather. I swear to God, you're fucking Addie. Happy? She smiled at his expense, he presumed. Zed, I said you look foolish only because you be such a handsome man that the fancy clothes look silly in trying to improve upon perfection. A grin stole back onto his face. He gave another quick bow. Why, thank you, madam. She pulled the piece of bread in half. And Zed, be careful. He cocked his head with a questioning frown. Masquerading in that outfit, like the princess in the song, you may get your bottom pinched. Zed gave her a mischievous wink. I won't let any stray wench trespass on your territory. He canted his hat to a jaunty angle and humming a merry tune swept through the doors. A cane, he thought. Perhaps he should have a cane. An ornate one, of course. It seemed to him that a gentleman should have a proper cane. And that is the end of chapter 33. And in the next chapter, you get to hear for the very first time Zed's favorite alias, which he uses quite often. Reuben Ribnick. Now, we've had several hints. Who here, besides Wolf and Raven, can guess what the wizard's second rule is?
Am I also with the Wolf and Raven?
I've already told you what it is, so no, you're not allowed to guess. Wolf and Raven's already read the books.
Even though I've told you what it is, and I doubt you actually remember.
So let's see if anybody can guess.
Besides Wolf and Raven. Wolf and Raven, I feel you starting to type and delete. Lumi put crickets in there. Nope. Zed gave a hint at it. Letting your heart lead you instead of your mind. No. Would you like me to say no? Okay. The wizard's second rule, which you will find out here very quickly. Passion rules reason. Meaning that yes, I have. Because that one is very important. So, in other words, instead of letting your emotions get carried away with you, no. What's that, Bailey?
Okay.
Ooh. Is that a diamond heart?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh. Holy shit. I have to admit that Wolf and Raven is actually right. I like it.
Do you see all the different characters in the smoke?
Yeah, I do. Okay, so that is the third rule. The second rule is the greatest harm can result from the best intentions. What was the huff for? No. Would it be the sounds from the spaghetti?
Yes.
Well, this is the last bite, and then I will be done.
Thank fucking God. Oh, that's cool looking. Thank you.
Oh, I fucking love that.
Starry Night, Harry Potter.
Uh-huh.
You want that for your office? My love?
Yes. Well, actually, should that be our office or should that be living room?
Could be living room or office. What about this one?
Ooh.
You know, if you still like Batman.
Why would I not like Batman?
I don't know.
Wolf and Raven? Really? Wolf and Raven said, I don't like Batman. The only DC I like is Dark Justice. I could understand saying you don't like Batman if you say, I don't know, I prefer the Joker. I would even take I prefer Superman or Wonder Woman or Green Lantern. Fuck, you could take Aquaman. But not even mentioning the villains? The villains.
Oh no, don't mention them.
Wolf and Raven, if you would like to make me my own set of Wizard's Rule buttons, I would be more than happy to have them.
Hey. So, you know when the kids are down here,
Uh-huh.
I'm still probably going to be doing diamond painting things, right?
Yeah.
What if I got them their own diamond painting kits?
Ooh, so they could do it with you?
They're little itty bitty stickers. They're only about that big. But do you see that, Elsa, Anna, Spider-Man, and,
Do you think they'd have the patience to do that, though?
they're little the stickers are only that big. It's not very many.
I know, but still, it's the grabbing each diamond and putting it on there.
Honestly, even if they don't take their time to do them, I'm not really too worried about it. It just gives them something that looks like mommy's to do.
And so you could all sit at the table together and
Exactly.
do it. Okay.
So even if they don't do them perfectly, I don't care.
Fair.
But no, I'm probably going to take one or two of the stickers. I'm probably going to take the Loki one and the Iron Man one and do them. But I'm going to get a couple of them. A couple of these little kits because I want to get a couple of them so the kids will have something to do with me. And heck, maybe I'll just get a bunch of stickers and I'll just do a bunch of stickers while they're here with them.
That sounds like a decent idea.
Because, there's a bunch of different little sets up here. Look, there's even a Harry Potter one. For fucking stickers.
Okay, guys. Yes, Bailey, just get through the night. Do what you think is best. but try not to overdo it, okay? Okay, so I am going to end the live. I am done. I am going to bed. I would like to go to sleep. I love you guys. Have a good night. Be good. If you can't be good at it. Always do the thing. Message us where you got us. And I love you guys. Have a nice night, and we will talk to you guys tomorrow.